Hey everyone, ready to nail that paralegal interview? We're doing a deep dive into this awesome guide, 2025 Paralegal Interview Questions and Answers. It's not just your typical interview prep. We're going beyond the basics here.
Yeah, it's really all about giving you that edge, to stand out from all the other candidates.
Totally. So let's jump right in. What kinds of questions can folks expect? I have to say, I was surprised by the sheer variety when I was looking through this.
Well, the legal field's changing so fast, it's not just knowing the law anymore. This guide breaks it down into five main types of questions. Uh, Knowledge-based, of course, but also behavioral scenario-based. Even your communication and tech skills are going to be tested.
Okay, so knowledge-based, I get it. They're going to grill me on specific areas of law, right?
Yeah.
But what about these behavioral questions?
Think about those tricky situations. You've handled tight deadlines, difficult personalities. Maybe you've had to deal with a very demanding attorney. They want to know how you handle the pressure.
Ah, so it's about proving I can handle the heat, right? What about these scenario-based questions? They sound kind of intense.
Yeah, they're designed to see how you think on your feet. Imagine they throw you a curveball, like a missing document, right before a hearing. How do you use your knowledge to solve that problem in real time?
Okay, starting to sweat a little bit now, but at least I'm prepared. Communication skills, that's a given, right? What's so different about them in 2025?
It's not just explaining things clearly anymore. You got to think about, like, presenting a complex case to a jury whose attention span is like TikTok level short. Can you get the information across in a way that's engaging and easy to understand?
Hmm, yeah, that's a good point. All right, challenge accepted. So what about tech skills? I know those are important, but how are they changing for paralegals specifically?
Think AI-powered legal research tools, e-discovery platforms. The tech is changing so fast. This guide even mentions blockchain and how it might change legal documents. If you can show you're ahead of the curve with this stuff, it's a huge advantage.
Okay, so we know the questions are going to be tough. How do we prepare? What's the game plan to get ready for this interview gauntlet?
All right, let's get strategic. Research is key, but not just basic stuff. Dive deep into the firm's recent cases. Look for cases that really align with your interests or experience. Mentioning these specific cases in the interview shows you're genuinely interested and you've done your research.
Got it. Stalking their website and legal databases, check. What else can I do to impress them?
Remember those behavioral questions. Prepare for those by thinking of specific examples from your past. Stories stick with people, so try to tell a story. Like, instead of just saying, "I'm organized," tell them about a time you managed a huge case with tons of deadlines and kept everything running smoothly.
I love that stories are definitely way more memorable than just listing off skills. Speaking of showcasing skills, what about my portfolio? Is that still relevant in 2025?
Absolutely. Think of it as your legal highlight reel. Make sure it's tailored to the firm's practice areas. Highlight projects that show off the skills they need. And if you use any cool new legal tech, definitely show that off.
My portfolio is about to be on fire. Anything else I can do to really stand out from everyone else?
Don't forget to prepare some really good questions to ask them. Remember, it's not just them grilling you, you're interviewing them too. It shows you're engaged and curious.
That's true. What kind of questions should I be asking? I don't want to sound unprepared.
Ask about things like how they approach professional development or how they're using new technologies. You can even ask their thoughts on the future of being a paralegal. Show them you're thinking long term and want to invest in the changing legal landscape.
Okay, those are great ideas. We've covered the different types of questions, the prep work, and how to interview them. Now let's get to the juicy part. What are some real 2025 questions they might ask, and how do I blow them away with my answers?
All right, so let's look at some of those 2025 questions they might actually ask you. One that really jumped out at me was, how would you use AI tools to improve your legal research and analysis?
Ooh, that's a good one. It's not just about knowing the law anymore. It's about knowing how to use all the tools to find and apply it quickly and efficiently.
Right. This question is your chance to show you're not afraid of technology, that you actually see it as a really powerful tool. You can talk about specific AI research platforms you've used and how they helped you get things done faster. Or even a time you found some crucial case law that you might have missed using traditional methods.
So it's about showing that I'm tech savvy, and I can use that to be a better paralegal. What about those tricky behavioral questions? Those are always the hardest ones for me to answer.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but they're also a great opportunity to really stand out. One example from the guide was, tell me about a time you had to deal with a difficult client or colleague. How did you handle it?
Oh man, I have so many stories for that one. But how do I answer without sounding like I'm bad-mouthing someone?
The key is to focus on the positive. Talk about what you did to try and resolve the conflict. Highlight your communication skills and how you got to a positive outcome. Maybe you calmed down a really angry client just by listening to their concerns, or you found a compromise that worked for everyone involved.
So basically show off my amazing conflict resolution skills,
Hmm.
which are super important for any paralegal.
Exactly. And don't forget to talk about what you learned from the experience. Did it change how you communicate with people? Did it help you develop better strategies for dealing with tough situations?
That's a good point. Shows I'm always learning and growing as a professional. Okay, what about those scenario-based questions? Those always put me on the spot.
Yeah, this can be tough. There was a really interesting one in the guide. You're preparing for a deposition, and suddenly a key witness is unavailable. What do you do?
Whoa, that's a curveball. What would a good answer to something like that even sound like?
It's all about showing you can problem solve and think quickly. You could talk about your process for figuring out what's going on, coming up with different solutions, and then communicating clearly with the legal team so you can change your strategy.
So I could say something like, first I'd figure out why the witness isn't available. Is it a scheduling conflict? An emergency? Then I'd look at our options for rescheduling or maybe finding a different witness. And of course, I'd make sure to keep the legal team in the loop so we can make decisions together.
Perfect. You're showing them you're proactive and resourceful and a great team player, which are all things they're looking for.
All right, so we've covered some pretty tough questions, knowledge-based, behavioral, even scenario-based. But what about those softer skills, the stuff that's not always easy to measure, but still really important?
You mean those essential non-technical skills? Yeah.
Exactly. Things like being organized, paying attention to detail, communication, adaptability, problem solving. We've talked about these a little bit. How do I really show them off during an interview?
By weaving them into your answers. Show, don't tell, as they say. So if you're talking about a complex case you managed, you can mention how your organizational skills helped keep everything running smoothly.
Or if they ask about a time I had to change plans quickly, I could talk about how I learned a new software program to help a new client.
Exactly. You're showing them you're adaptable and willing to learn new things, which is super important in the legal field these days with things changing so fast.
So it's all about connecting my strengths to what they need in the job.
Exactly. And remember, clear communication is key. Make sure the interviewer can easily understand you even when you're talking about complicated legal stuff.
Makes sense. I want to make a good impression and show them I can really add value to their team. Okay, so what about questions that I should ask them?
Right. It's a two-way street, remember. Asking good questions not only shows you're paying attention, but it also helps you figure out if the firm is the right fit.
So what are some good questions to ask? Ones that really help me understand the firm's culture and what it's like to work there.
Don't just ask the typical stuff. Instead of asking about their professional development program, ask about specific things they're doing to help paralegals learn new technologies, or how they encourage people to work together and collaborate.
I could even ask about how they see the paralegal role changing in the future, right?
Absolutely. That shows you're thinking ahead and interested in a long-term career with them. You could also ask about work-life balance, especially with so many legal jobs going remote.
Those are great ideas.
Yeah.
It's about showing I'm not just looking for any job. I want a place where I can learn and grow and use my skills to really make a difference.
Exactly.
So any other tips for making a great impression?
You know, one thing we haven't really talked about is nonverbal communication, like making eye contact, sitting up straight, projecting confidence, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, it's like they say, it's not what you say, but how you say it.
Exactly. Your body language says a lot about how professional and enthusiastic you are. So even if you're nervous, try to project a sense of calm confidence.
Uh-huh. Yeah, easier said than done when you're in the hot seat.
Yeah.
But I get it, first impressions are important.
Any other last-minute tips? Things that can help calm my nerves and really make me shine. The biggest thing is to be prepared. The more you practice your answers and research the firm and the role, the more confident you'll feel. And don't be afraid to let your personality show. They want to see that you're a real person who's passionate about the law and wants to contribute, not just a robot spitting out legal terms.
Okay, I'm feeling better already.
Mm-hmm.
We've covered so much, the different types of questions, how to prepare, those non-technical skills, even how to interview them. What are the most important things to remember going into this interview?
Remember, it's not just about getting a job, it's about finding the right job for you. Use those questions you prepared to really understand the firm's culture and values. Do they match up with yours? Is it a place where you can see yourself growing and being happy?
So it really is a two-way street. I'm evaluating them just as much as they're evaluating me. What about the future of being a paralegal? Any final thoughts on how to stay ahead of the game?
The legal world is always changing, so you have to keep learning new things. Embrace technology, look for professional development opportunities, and never stop asking questions. The more you learn and grow, the more valuable you'll be as a paralegal.
I love that. Okay, future paralegals, listen up. You've got the knowledge, the skills, and all the insider tips to ace that interview. Go in there with confidence, show them what you've got, and we're rooting for you.
And before you go, we want to hear from you. The guide talks about virtual law firms becoming more common. Do you think that trend's going to continue? How do you think it will affect paralegals in the future? Let us know your thoughts. We love to keep the conversation going.
And that's a wrap on today's deep dive. Remember, preparation equals confidence, and confidence opens doors. Now go out there and rock that interview.